On Friday, August 11th, 2023, the tranquility of a Pensacola Home Depot was shattered by a lone gunman. In a moment of unfathomable destruction, he unleashed a barrage of bullets, claiming the life of one woman and injuring two of her colleagues. The victim, 18-year-old Brooklyn Sims, a single mother, was tragically unalived in the attack. As the investigation unfolded, a chilling narrative emerged, one of a jilted ex-boyfriend, Keith Agee. Consumed by rage and a misguided sense of betrayal, he believed Brooklyn gave him an STD. Now, is it me, or does this guy just look off? Like someone sewn in his hair, like he was made in a sweatshop. Welcome back to The Strange Bar and Grill. I'm your host, JP. Tonight I'm serving up another true crime story time, so get ready for another wild case. But before we get started, just remember one thing. I've been drinking, but I ain't been driving. All right, let's go. Witness accounts paint a terrifying picture of the shooting. One worker, returning from lunch, heard the gunshots ring out. Instinctively, he shouted for everyone to take cover, then called 911 to report the incident and request aid for the injured.
Well, I came back from a lunch break. I went behind the counter to go pick up my trusty iPad I use for surveying. And I was talking to a coworker and I heard pop, 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 like 5 or 6 rounds go off. And I realized it was a gun, and I told him, I said, duck and cover. And I went right up underneath the counter, back behind the main counter, and I was sat there Indian style, and I called 911. Then I heard someone was hurt, and I said, also, please send paramedics. And I stayed with her on the line until the police arrived and told us to evacuate.
When deputies arrived, they found Sims laying face down in aisle 52, her life cut short in an act of senseless violence. 2 of her co-workers had also been shot, grazed by bullets in the head and back. The suspect had fled the scene. Surveillance footage revealed the shooter's movements. He entered the store, headed directly to aisle 52, and opened fire. Witnesses reported seeing him run from the building, enter a silver sedan, and speed away toward Duval Street. Soon after, a man called police from a nearby restaurant, confessing to the shooting.
Yes, I was trying to come up the fence. You're where? I'm trying to come up the fence. Okay, where are you at? Pensacola, Alabama. Are you trying to turn yourself in for? What are you trying to turn yourself in for? No, you're fine. Just pop down off. I'll get someone to help you. Are you injured at all?
The caller identified as 20-year-old Keith Agee from Calvert, Alabama. He was swiftly apprehended by responding officers.
Go down to your knees, keep your arms out, put your arms on your head. Hands on, do not resist them, okay? For 1015 at AMC, do not require any additional units here.
In custody, Keith Agee waived his Miranda rights and admitted to detectives that he and Sims have been in a on-again, off-again relationship for 4 years, sharing a child together. That morning, he had learned he tested positive for gonorrhea. He's just dirty. He's at the free clinic, itching and burning. Believing he contracted the STD from Sims, Agee flew into a rage. He left work, retrieved his handgun from home, and drove to the Pensacola Home Depot to confront her. Along the way, he contemplated turning back, but ultimately allowed his pride to dictate his actions. He allowed his burnt meat to dictate his actions. At the store, Agee located Sims and attempted to speak with her. She brushed him off, allegedly causing a co-worker to laugh at him. Enraged, Agee drew his weapon and fired, striking Sims and 2 bystanders. He then fled, disposing of the gun, which was later recovered. So he walked into a Home Depot, fired on 3 people, ran out of the store, jumped into his jalopy, all because his meat's on fire. And he probably did it to himself, running the streets like a little hizzo. A search of Agee's phone revealed disturbing text messages exchanged with his mother, Sheila. In the hours leading up to the shooting, the messages showed Sheila not only knew of her son's plan, but actively assisted him in locating Sims. In chilling detail, texts laid out Agee's intentions. He spoke of firing on Sims and making her feel regret in her final moments. Sheila, aware of the gravity of the situation, instructed her son on how to carry out the murder, even providing the address of Sims's workplace. Text messages between Keith and mother Sheila began at 10:37 a.m. on the day of the murder until a mere 40 minutes before the shooting at Home Depot. Keith starts the text message thread just minutes after learning about the STD results. He finds out that his mother is actually working with Brooklyn Sims in Pensacola and expects to give her a ride home to Alabama after work to pick up their daughter. His initial plan is to confront Sims as soon as they arrive, and at 11:09 a.m., Keith sends a text. "She ain't do nothing but cause me money and give me an STD. I'm getting ready to shoot her. I know I hate that for my daughter, but like I said, I can't take it no more." Sheila responds 1 minute later saying, "Okay, I'll call you and tell you, MF'er, if you want to go to jail. I'll tell you when we get close. But if you don't come and kill her, you a straight bitch. Don't call Nanny and tell her. She'll try to talk you out of it." Keith replies, "I ain't even going to tell her why I left. I'll just say I went to the dentist or something." To which Sheila replies, "Don't shoot my mother effing car. I don't want to die." Keith says, "I'm not." Sheila states, "Wait till I put her out." In discussing his plan to kill Brooklyn in the Home Depot parking lot, Keith tells his mother, "But that's another thing. She don't get out of the car, Mama, and I have to drag her out, or I can't. I'm going to have to ask you to step out because I'm just going to open fire on the door and just shoot her." "As long as you don't shoot me," replies Sheila. She then adds, "Hell, if you're getting off work now, I'll give you the address here and you can ride over here and do it so you don't have to do it in front of your daughter." Keith agrees, responding, "Yeah, send it to me." Sheila, seeming to understand the risky nature of the conversation that she had with her son, says, "Let me get it. Erase the texts, because I don't want nobody to know I was texting your stupid ass." Keith states, "I already deleted mine. I ain't gonna say shit about us even talking today." At 11:32 a.m., Keith confirms to his mother that he is headed to Pensacola, asks for the address again. Sheila replies, "I'm getting it. Just give me a minute. I'm on my lunch break." At 11:43 a.m., Keith asks for the address a third time. For the first time in the conversation, Sheila responds with some resemblance of a mother, someone who's not fucking insane. While promising to give him the information he needs to fulfill his morbid plan, Sheila states, "You don't give a F about that baby. I'll get you the address when I get back. And you ain't showing nobody nothing except that you got mental issues because you're willing to give up your life and your baby daughter's life and hurt your family over your burnt meat." Now, she didn't say that exactly, but you get the point. "But don't worry, I'll make sure she knows Brooklyn gave you something that you had to get a shot for, but you didn't love her enough to give a F about her, that she wasn't enough for you." Wow, she almost sounds like a mother there. Finally, at 11:55 a.m., Sheila sends her son a screenshot of the address for the Home Depot on North Davis Highway in Pensacola. One of Keith's last messages to his mother reads, "So that last thought of her knowing that she's effed and the regret on her face will be enough to satisfy me. I don't give a F what she sees when she's dead." The final text in that thread is sent by Sheila at 12:42 stating, "Okay, then stop texting me. I'm working. Do whatever." It's cold and callous. Less than 1 hour later, Brooklyn Sims was dead. Both Keith and his mom are mentally ill, some grade A weirdos, some evil people. If I looked up their pictures and they had horns growing out of their head, I would not be surprised. They are evil. Both Keith Agee and his mother Sheila were arrested and charged for their roles in the killing. Sheila's attorney argued for bond, characterizing the damning text messages as taken out of context, but the judge ordered her held without bond pending trial. Really? Taken out of context? Take all of them out of context, including that attorney. and whoop their asses. At Agee's trial, prosecutors presented a powerful case, bolstered by surveillance footage, eyewitness testimony, and the defendant's own confession. The defense in turn sought to cast doubt on Agee's state of mind at the time of the shooting. Taking the stand in his own defense, Agee recounted the events of that fateful day. He spoke of his rage upon learning of the STD diagnosis and his belief that Sims was to blame. Through tears, he described driving to the Home Depot, his confrontation with Sims, and the moment he opened fire. Yeah, really, cry me a river, guy. Under cross-examination, prosecutors meticulously picked apart Agee's story, highlighting inconsistencies and challenging his claims of a momentary lapse in judgment. They painted a picture of a man driven by wounded pride and a thirst for revenge. Meat was sizzling like
So when you got the phone call from your doctor, you automatically assumed Brooklyn gave it to you, right?
Yes, sir.
So your testimony is that you drove an hour and a half after getting your pistol. You got the address from your mother. You went straight to the Home Depot, right?
Yes, sir.
Didn't stop anywhere in Pensacola.
No, sir. I didn't stop in Pensacola. No, sir.
So you went straight to the Home Depot. You parked your car actually next to your mother's car, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You left your car and you went up to approach Home Depot. You saw the video earlier, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you had your phone out?
Yes, sir.
What were you looking at?
Nothing. My phone was just in my hand from being in the car. I had GPS on because I didn't know my way through Pensacola or how to get to Home Depot.
When you were in the parking lot and in that store, did you not look down at your phone?
I can't recall.
Was your mother telling you where she was?
No, sir. Not in the store. No.
Did she drop a point to you?
She told me on the way to Home Depot that they would be in Home Depot.
Did she tell you what aisle?
No, sir.
Did she drop a point to you?
No, sir.
You entered the Home Depot in the main entrance and you walked directly to aisle 52, right?
No, sir. I walked along the aisles looking. I didn't know which aisle exactly that she would be located on.
You didn't stop and talk to anybody?
No, sir.
You went straight to her?
Yes, sir.
You walked down, once you saw her, you walked down the aisle and you said, "You gave me something."
Yes, sir.
She says, in your words, "Not this again," and turned away from you.
Yes, sir.
You said on the ride over here, this hour and a half, you were enraged, betrayed, felt hurt, right?
Yes, sir.
And you said you saw Brooklyn and it all melted away.
Yes, for that brief moment. Yes, sir.
How long was this brief moment?
Until she turned away from me and said, "Not again."
And then you said again, you felt hurt, enraged, betrayed. The same thing you just said.
Yes, sir.
Never been so mad in your life.
Yes, sir.
Because she turned away from you.
Yes, sir.
And you were going to teach her something.
Yes, sir.
In her closing argument, prosecutor Bridget Jensen implored the jury to see the case for what it is: cold, calculated act of murder, fueled by Agee's bruised ego. She dismissed the defense's attempts to characterize the shooting as a crime of passion. Ultimately, the jury returned a verdict of guilty on the charge of first-degree murder. Keith Agee was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, his fate sealed by his own heinous actions.
Circuit Court for Escambia County, Florida. State of Florida plaintiff versus Keith Eric Agee, defendant. Clerk number 1723CF003379A, Division A. Verdict. We, the jury, find as follows as to the counts charged in the indictment. Count 1, guilty of first-degree murder as charged. Count 2, not guilty. So say we all this 20th day of December, 2023.
During sentencing, the attorney Jensen wanted to clarify one final matter for the record. Brooklyn Sims did not have gonorrhea. That means little nasty ass Keith was running around being filthy. It's amazing how these serial cheaters get an STD but don't blame themselves for being little hizzos, blame everyone else. Keith, you and your mom got the IQ of a bag of rocks. Instead of plotting a murder on somebody, you should have went and rolled down a hill somewhere or skipped your ass across a lake somewhere.
Judge, and one last thing, I really didn't want to put this into evidence. Judge, this is an extraction report from Sheila Agee's cell phone number, and there are just some text messages between her and Brooklyn. And the court would look on page 4. Brooklyn sent a picture of the doctor's appointment she had on August 5th. And if you look at the very last page, it just shows that Brooklyn actually did not have gonorrhea. And I know in the grand scheme of things it doesn't matter, but we just wanted to give Ms. Sims a little bit of dignity.
Ooh, you guys are just some deplorable human beings. The case stands as a tragic reminder of the destructive power of unchecked rage and the far-reaching consequences of domestic violence. It's a sobering testament to the importance of seeking help and intervention before situations escalate to such devastating ends. Though justice has been served, the impact of Brooklyn Sims's murder will forever reverberate through the lives of her loved ones and the community at large. My heart goes out to Brooklyn's family. I feel so bad as a child lost her mother to some senseless mess. As for Keith Agee, he will spend the rest of his days behind bars, left to grapple with the weight of his actions and the irreparable harm he has caused. And he will also be stocking up on Vaseline because they're about to go up in him quick with that doll hair. His mother Sheila is still awaiting trial as she was charged with first-degree murder for her involvement and has pleaded not guilty. Damn, look at that mugshot. All that ugly must have came to the surface. She had a really hard life in such a short amount of time while she was in jail. The Home Depot shooting stands as a haunting chapter in Pensacola's history, a stark reminder of the darkness that can reside within the human heart. May Brooklyn Sims's legacy be one of hope, inspiring us all to work towards a future where such tragedies are but a distant memory. And wear a condom.